it has generated quite a bit of interest, and I'm very excited that these young people are eager to be this involved in politics. Someday they'll probably regret that. But after all, these are our future leaders of our county and our city government, and possibly our state government and national government. So, these people volunteered, the people at the three different panels. We are only going to focus on the three major political candidates for president: the Independent Party, Ross Perot, and the Republican Party in the center here is the Bush Campaign Committee, and of course to my right, your left, the Democratic Party, the Clinton campaign. So what I want to do is introduce first these panels, and I'm not going to say a whole lot. I'm going to get out of the way and turn it over to these people, hopefully. And I'll introduce our questioning panel. Just quickly, they have a name tag out here, and we got them some water. They've already exhausted all of our water supply here, I believe. Quickly first, the Independent Party, they will answer the questions first by draw. Ben Scott, all these are seventh graders, by the way. Ben Scott, David Adams, Todd McCoy, Jonathan Chapman, and John Stanley. The Republican Party will be represented by Kevin Thacker, Chip Root, Will Lindsay, Michael Corbin, and Justin Stalnaker. The Clinton panel, Clinton panel, T.J. Littifick, James Ellswick, Crystal Tackett, Amanda Lester, Chelsea Mullins, C.T. Branham, Bridget Mullins. Certainly the job of president has changed enormously since George Washington took the oath of office in 1789. And I think the magnitude of being president and the responsibilities that go along with it are obvious. That it's the most important job as we know it in the world. And these people, hopefully, in a series of answers given to the questions by our panel, will make a decision tomorrow when they vote on who they would like to be our next president. Pardon me. We've not taken any kind of poll other than just general word of mouth in our classrooms, and it seems to be very even like it is nationally. Of course, the latest CNN time poll has Clinton with 39% of the votes, Bush 32%, and Perot 20%. But I think we're seeing that change. So hopefully, by what we do in here this evening, in the next hour, these people will make a decision on who they would like to see president through the answers given by these young people here. So what I want to do, and there's no specific format other than we are going to take one person from each group to come up here and give a background on their candidate. And those people have already been designated by their groups. And we'll start first with the Perot group, and I've got a little fill crate up here. Hopefully anybody that is not tall enough to reach the microphone will be with the help of the crate. No offense to anybody, Ben. All right, the Perot, Jonathan Chapman.
Understandably, Ross Perot's withdrawal from the presidential race had a profound effect on his supporters, particularly on those who invested their time, money, and effort. Our huge national debt is over $4 trillion and is the top priority of Ross Perot. He says the staggering national debt that dooms our children to a bleak and promise-free future has to be reformed. Ross Perot was born where he lives now in Dallas, Texas. He's a self-made billionaire through oil, computers, and other industries. Now, I've heard a lot about they're going to put Ross Perot down because they say he dropped out of the race. And some of the reasons that I've heard that he's dropped out of the race is that his privacy was being invaded in his home, and he did it to protect his family. And We need Ross Perot in the White House because he has a reputation of getting things done.
Thank you, John. The Republican Party, Chip Root.
Thank you for coming to this debate on October 26, 1992. Your time and questions are very important to us, so please be patient and we will answer all your questions. George Herbert Walker Bush was elected president January 20, 1989 and has served for 4 years. He went to Harvard Law School for 4 years and he could have played Major League Baseball, but he turned down this offer. After college, he served as an Air Force pilot in World War II, and when he returned to the States, he was elected congressman for 2 terms, which is 4 years. Afterwards, a few years later, he became vice president under Ronald Reagan for 8 years, which is 2 terms. After Reagan's 2 terms, he ran for president against Michael Dukakis, which was a successful defeat. George Bush has a wife and 5 kids. His wife's name is Barbara. His 5 kids' names are George, Jeb, Neil, Marvin, and Dorothy. He is a very trustworthy person, and as you can see, he is a proven leader. The Persian Gulf War was a great fight, and that proves his leadership. Out of 400,000 people, 150 casualties were told. In this election, you have a choice of voting for us, the Republican Party, or them, the Democratic and Independent. The choice is yours.
God.
Thank you, Chip. The Democratic Party, the introduction for Bill Clinton would be C.T. Brand.
Thank you very much. The Democratic candidate, Bill Clinton. The next. Thank you very much. Democratic candidate, Bill Clinton, the nation's longest-serving governor, and only the 2nd person in American history to be elected to 5 terms as governor, is a 5th-generation Arkansan. He was born William Jefferson Blythe IV in Hope, Arkansas in 1946. 2 months after his father died in a traffic accident, when Clinton was 4 years old, his mother, Virginia, married Roger Clinton. In 1968, Clinton graduated from Georgetown University. He then spent 2 years at Oxford University in London as a Rhodes Scholar. Clinton earned his law degree from Yale University in 1973. Clinton returned to Arkansas and joined the staff of the University of Arkansas School of Law. He also practiced law in Fayetteville. Clinton began his political career in 1974 with an unsuccessful campaign for Congress. 2 years later, he was elected Attorney General, a post he held for 1 term before being elected governor in 1978. Clinton lost his re-election bid in 1980, but was returned to office in 1982. Throughout his years in politics, Clinton has also been a chairman of the Democratic Leadership Council, the National Governors Association, the Education Commission of the States, and the Lower Mississippi Delta Development Commission of the states. He so chaired the NGA task force on health care as well. Clinton and his wife Hillary have 1 daughter, Chelsea. And thank you.
Thank you, Steve. So you have an introduction of the candidates, quite a bit of information circulating about all of them, some of it negative, and hopefully we will not dwell on any of those aspects this evening. What I want to do now is introduce the questioning panel we formed just basically from volunteers They have a list of questions. Now, we're going to have an interruption in about 4 or 5 minutes here. The fifth period bell will ring, or bell to end fifth period start to go to 6. So what I would ask that you do is we probably will take a very brief intermission, or at least stop what we're doing, because we won't be able to hear with the noise and traffic through the building, or through this area. But I do want to introduce the questioning panel. There's no specific time limit. However, we will try to limit the answers to 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Some will vary. Some will be shorter than that. The panel is formed: 7th grader Dome Von Visas, 7th grader Michael Pruitt, 7th grader Megan Thacker, 7th grader Matt Robinson, 7th grader Johnny Stewart, and we've asked all the way from Washington, D.C., junior Steve Huffman. And actually, he's from Airport Road, I guess. Steve Huffman is involved. The questions, I've asked them to come to the microphone. They may not do that. They may just stand and ask the question. Some of them can speak loud enough to be heard. We will start with, we'll start on this end of the table. The questions will be directed. One person from each panel will come to the microphone and answer the question to the best of their ability. And they'll make that decision as they hear the question. Some of the questions have been, of course, they're prepared for most of the questions, but they have not been given the question to write out. So you might see a little paper ruffling at each of the tables. But we'll start first with the Perot panel. And the question's coming from Dome Von Visas. Come up here, we'll stay there.
Okay, to the independent party, what are your points about abortion and about pro-life and pro-choice?
We'll have them repeat the question again. Just say the question twice.
What are your points about abortion and about pro-life and pro-choice?
Mr. Perot feels that such a personal question as abortion is an example of government involving itself with moral questions that should be left to individual states to decide. What he's saying is, feels the individual states should vote on whether they feel abortion should be allowed or abortion should not be allowed. Thank you.
That was David Adams. Very good, David. All right, Michael Pruitt, 7th grader, question. Megan, you're next. I'm sorry.
Hey, Coach.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to leave out the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I'm sorry. We'll let them have a response. I'm sorry.
That's your rebuttal.
I'm a little ahead of myself. The Republican Party person, Justice Stallnagle.
Okay. George Bush is pro-life. He doesn't think a woman has the right to have an abortion, except if she gets raped or to save the life of the mother. Thank you.
Way to go.
All right, for Clinton. Chelsea Mullins.
It's Daryl's daughter.
Bill Clinton believes that no matter how you feel personally, that we don't have the right to force beliefs on other people. Women should have the right to choose.
Thank you, Chelsea. Now we're ready for the next question. Michael Pruitt.
Go, Michael.
We'll walk around. Wait, whether respond.
budget cuts. How will you help defense workers cope with these cuts?
John Stanley.
Mr. Perot believes in a strong military that wants to cut the cost of what defense costs. Even though the cost reduces our military, we still will be strong.
The question was directed to the Perot panel, so we will move on with another question, perhaps to a different panel. Megan Thacker.
What is your candidate's plan to create new jobs? This goes to the Republican Party.
Well, first off, our plan to help the economy.
They can't hear you.
We ask that you not go too far. Seventh graders don't go anywhere. About a 3 or 4 minute break here, please. The question dealt with the creation of jobs for the Republican Party. Chip Group was the response.
The way that George Bush is going to create jobs in America is first he's going to lower taxes on the middle class. That's his main thing. But what Bill Clinton wants to do is tax the wealthy, and he says he's going to just tax the wealthy. But the way he's taxing everything else, that's going to come back to the middle class. But anyway, George Bush is going to create more industrial jobs, but lower the tax rate. This will make the prime interest rate go up, and the inflation will go up, and this means that all the industry will do better, and our economy will rise. Our economy is not in the biggest mess that people say it's in. We have a real good economy compared to other countries. And what people are saying is that the economy is terrible around here. And if you ever go to a big city, look around. There are cars everywhere. I mean, the economy is good around here. Think about it, people. Thank you.
We will give each group a response that they like. The Democratic Party response to the creation of jobs. T.J. Littlefield.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that last 4 years, George Bush said, "Read my lips, no new taxes." We see where we are today. Bill Clinton's plan to create more jobs for America is to raise the taxes on the rich that did not pay their fair share. When I say the rich, I mean those making over $200,000 a year. Then that will lower the tax on the poor and middle class. We also want to cut government spending. The Republicans think that can't be done. The Vice President of the United States does not need a jet to go play golf in. We need to cut government agencies and cut unnecessary government spending. And that way we will have more money for the creation of jobs. And we need more money to educate people that want to go out here and be working. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. The Perot panel, Ben Scott.
Where's the
The creation of jobs.
Stand up.
Even though the Republican Party and the Democratic Party's first part of their questions didn't have nothing to do with jobs, but with the economy and taxes, I'll talk about jobs. A number one priority for Mr. Perot is to get the nation back to work, to increase the tax base. This is the only way to get the country back on track and to create more jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. All right, next question, Matt Robinson.
What will your foreign policy be, and how can it compare to the proven policy?
Okay, this is the Perot panel. What would your candidate do to reduce the national debt?
The staggering national debt that dooms our children to a bleak and promiseless future is the highest priority to Mr. Perot. The looming budget deficits that push us ever closer to a major economic collapse must be not only reduced but turned around so that America is once more the economic superpower that it once was and still can be. Thank you.
Very good. The response from the Republican Party. National debt.
It seems like the major problem everyone's talking about is how to lower this debt. Well, what George Bush wants to do is cut government spending, but lower taxes on the middle class and lower taxes, period, and cap entitlements on programs including Medicare, Medicaid, farming supplements, not Social Security. Mr. Perot wants to raise the tax on Social Security and gas. If he raises the tax on gas, that will hurt all of us. 50 cents in the next 5 years? Okay, look at it this way. If he raises it 50 cents, that means that our parents and us, when we drive in to get some gas, instead of the gas being $1.19, it's going to be $1.69. Think about it. It's not just hurting the rich. It's hurting us. And they say that to lower this debt, that they're going to raise taxes on the wealthy. But they want $150 billion in the next 4 years. People don't make $200,000 or more that often, so they have to go down to the middle class, $36,000 or more, and that's hurting us again. Thank you. Oh, and I forgot to say one more thing. Another reason this debt is so high is we've got a Democratic Congress and a Republican president. It just doesn't work, people. The Democratic Congress vetoes every good bill that comes in, and they give themselves a big raise every time that they want it. Their deficit makes over half of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip. Response from the Democratic on the national debt.
At the present time, our national debt is over $4 trillion. That debt raises $13,000 every second. For the United States to get out of debt right now, every American family would have to pay over $60,000. We Americans are sick and tired of Republican trickle-down economics, where the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and the middle-class Americans work harder for lower wages and pay higher taxes to a government that fails to produce what we need. Good jobs in a growing economy, world-class education, and safe streets and neighborhoods.
Thank you, teacher. All right, the next question. Johnny Stewart.
How do you feel on gay rights?
Address to all. We'll go to each panel. Perot first.
Gay rights is a very controversial issue that's been brought up. But if a person chooses to be gay, he makes that choice. And the way society would treat a person these days is horrible. He'd be an outcast. But Ross Perot thinks that they should have the same rights as job discrimination and things like that. They should be able to get a job or get wages just like any other person should. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Will Lynch.
Gay rights aren't a funny subject. Okay, just like Mr. Chapman said, you cannot choose to be gay or not gay. You were born with this effect. Alright, Bush has not thoroughly explained his position on the gay rights. He has said that his defense department containing to ban homosexuals from the uniformed services. That's all, thank you.
Thank you, Will. Democratic response.
We mainly feel the same way about that as we do abortion. It's a decision. It's your personal decision whether you are homosexual or not. I really think that should be left out of government and should be left to the person to decide.
All right, thank you. The next question, Steve Huffman.
For the Clinton group, what will your foreign policy be and how can it compare to George Bush's proven foreign policy? What will your foreign policy be?
Question goes to the Democratic panel. Issue of foreign policy. What will the Clinton foreign policy plan be and how does it compare to George Bush's?
That's the one on it.
Stop making fun. Good job.
about foreign policy. George Bush gave over $4 billion to Egypt. I think that we need to cut a lot of money that we're sending to other countries worldwide. We need to send money to other countries, of course, to help other countries, but a lot of it needs to be stopped because we need to use our money to get this country out of there and get this country going. Help this country first, then help the other countries if we're going to get this country out of there.
Thank you very good. All right, Perot on foreign policy. Comments?
We agree with the Democratic Party on this subject. We agree that we should keep the money here instead of sending it away to places like Somalia. We should send money, but not as much as we're sending. And we should keep it here. Like, not a month or two ago, we were sending money to Somalia, but we wasn't sending much money to where the hurricane hit in Miami, Florida. But the people, are getting money now because of the care of people in the United States who donate money to give to these people who are in a crisis right now of a tornado. Hurricane.
Foreign policy.
As you can see in America right now, George Bush has a very great foreign policy. The reason he gives like money to Cairo is because we don't just think of ourselves. We're not stingy. We want to send it out and help the whole world. George Bush wants to make this world a better place. You can see what he's done in Russia. He's made it not communism anymore. And the way that Bill Clinton, Ross Perot wants to do it is just keep all the money inside to here. Just keep it all here. And that's just not the way to do it. It might lower the debt, but still the other countries, we want to help our whole world. This whole world will be a better place the way George Bush wants to do things. Thank you.
All right, next question, we'll go back around. We will take questions from the audience, by the way. From this point on, if there are any questions, we will take questions from the audience. They must be approved
Come over here and tell me.
prior to being asked. We'll go back around with Don't Bomb Visas.
This question goes to the Democratic Party. What do you say about the rumors that Clinton smoked pot, burned the flag, and draft dodging? Well, on the issue of the draft, George Bush's father, Prescott Bush, said that Joe McCarthy was wrong to go around the United States attacking people's patriotism. He was right about that. George Bush's father was right about that. But George Bush is wrong to attack Bill Clinton's patriotism. The Vietnam War was a terrible thing for the United States. Many people were killed in the Vietnam War. It was a tragic time for all of the United States and for many countries in the world. On the issue of smoking marijuana, Bill Clinton said that he only smoked marijuana one time when he was at Cambridge University in London, England. He was in college then, and he only smoked one marijuana cigarette. He said he was just trying to experiment with it. And on the thing that Bill Clinton had affairs, those rumors are totally false. Thank you.
Republican and Independent Party. However, I will say this, and I did not make the statement, gentlemen, to the right over here. If you want to make comments, you need to keep them to yourself at this time, and then make your comments in that machine over there when you go in there to vote tomorrow. We do have a response from the Republican Party.
Okay, about the Vietnam War. I think that he was right about dodging the thing. That was a big mistake, the whole war was. But the bad thing that Bill Clinton did about that, he lied. He sat there and first said he wasn't drafted. Then he said he was drafted and he didn't go. He just kept on lying. And all that the thing about the American flag was, that was just a rumor. And with the marijuana thing, he said he didn't inhale. But that's his story. But I think that the Vietnam War was a bad joke, and anyone that didn't go probably was smart, because most of our Americans died in that war, and that was just a bad mistake. By the way, during that war, there was a Democratic president. Thank you.
Do we have a response from the parole panel?
I just want to know one thing. How come every time Bill Clinton was asked a question, he kind of changes the question around slightly bit, but he does. That, I don't know, and that they just changed the question a little bit. And what about the burnt flag? Nobody said anything about that. And for Mr. Bush, if he's so good at these other foreign nations, let him go run Russia.
Any questions from the audience? If you would, please write it down and then bring it up here around this end, and I'll pass it on. I'll ask the question. Next on the panel, Megan Snyder.
About gun control and assess the Clinton panel.
He's looking for the 7-day waiting period to find out about the background on people. He has some other restrictions, but that's not important. Thank you.
Mr. Perot supports the constitutional right of the citizens to bear arms, but takes a strong stance against the use of firearms in the commission of the crime. He feels that such criminals should be severely punished. Well, obviously you're not going to go hunting with a pistol. I think when you go to buy a pistol, you should have to wait at least a month before you can receive the pistol. They need to check on your background. If you've committed any crimes, you do not need to have the pistol. Thank you.
Republican Party, and I'm glad I looked over these questions before I let somebody ask them.
You're stupid. George Bush is against gun control. Last year he opposed the weighting provision on handguns. But this year, Bush said he would sign the Brady bill, which mandates a 5 working day waiting period if it were part of the larger anti-crime bill. Thank you.
The question is, when is George Bush going to tell the truth about the Iran-Contra affair?
He is telling the truth about the Iran-Contra affair. George Bush is a very trustworthy man. He has told the truth about lots of things. And I'm going to pull up something because I know that they'll say it, about the reason I lives. He has not raised taxes. The only time he did was when Congress and him made a deal, and then he raised taxes. But Congress backed down from that deal. But George Bush, anyway, is a very trustworthy man, and he is telling the truth about the Contra bill. Thank you.
He's called himself the environmental president, yet has held up many of the environmental regulations. Bush panel, please explain why. Okay. I realize that Bush has turned down some of the environmental bills. This is because of the part
response from any of the group on the environmental?
The environment preserves as much as any of the candidates. It sees too much bureaucracy in government intrusion that makes environmental preservation so tied up with red tape that little is being accomplished. He also believes, however, that some continuous must be between the need to preserve the environment and the need for the industrial base to provide the nation with goods and service that it needs. Thank you.
Bill Clinton and Al Gore support protecting the environment because we need a strong environment to maintain a growing and healthy economy. We will improve and cut on the Clean Water Act, improve energy efficiency, promote recycling, and preserve America's natural treasures.
The audience, to the parole panel. Why should we elect Ross Perot when he has dropped out of the race, letting millions of Americans down, and he has no experience in a public office? How is he electable?
Mr. Perot dropped out of his campaign. The Republicans said that they was going to go in and ruin his daughter's wedding. And he didn't want that to happen. He didn't even want to tell his daughter because he was afraid that, well, it would ruin her life because this is one of the most important days of your life when you get married. And so he didn't consult the public or anything. He just dropped out of the race and let his daughter get married peacefully. When he was asked to come back, he did, but he had lost a lot of supporters. We need you to help support Ross Perot.
Bush was the education president. He's the panel. Has your education not matter in the past 4 years? And for Perot and Clinton, what is your education plan?
We have failed to address the needs of America's children. We do not provide them with adequate education. Bill Clinton has changed that. He has already been endorsed by the NEA, National Education Association. Arkansas has one of the best records in the U.S. on education. Arkansas is still lagging in education, but they have improved a lot. When I said they have one of the best records, they have the best record to come up from the bottom in education and greatly improve education by getting computers in the schools and getting more training for their teachers and other things. Arkansas has many new innovative programs that are helping education in that state. George Bush tried to take away 1 million students' college aid. That was wrong. We need college aid for every American family that has a child that they want to send to college. Thank you.
Parole panel, David Adams.
Which is called Head Start. For children at the age of 4, they will start going to like a preschool at the age of 4, so they'll be ready for kindergarten and first grade. Also, Mr. Perot wants to decrease the size of schools so that children get more of the teacher, so the teacher can talk to the student, so there's not so many people in the same class. I don't know how many people there's like 28 people in some classes. Mr. Perot feels that there should be half of that much, so that the kids get more out of the class, which in generations to come will prevent more jobs because everyone will be smarter and we will be able to compete with the other countries in all the things
that we are not being able to right now? Thank you. Responses to both of these two. First off, he says he wants to, Mr. Perot wants to cut the 28 class by half. I mean, think about it. There won't be cooperative learning there. You can't put that many groups in that kind of class. And Bill Clinton wants to sit here and, you heard what he said. I mean, come on. What George Bush wants to do, okay, but wait a second. Okay, I'll tell you what he said. He has to worry about Arkansas. I mean, he has to also worry about 49 other states besides Arkansas when he gets president. He has to worry about that one state. George Bush wants to borrow $500 million and go and put 500 some schools into this state. That means, no, it's 595. That means one per congressional district. That will help our school system tremendously. Thank you.
1 minute, because we are running a little short here, on the issue of health care. Each group, I'm sure, has some comment or some statement on their candidate's opinion on health care in this country, which is obviously a growing problem. We'll go, Perot, are you ready for that? Republican Party? All right, Perot.
Mr. Perot sees the need for all citizens to have affordable health care, but again sees the answer in bringing the insurance industry in line with common business practices and regulations that prevent them from gutting the health industry by overcharging the core service. Thank you. Okay. Bush wants to reform the state malpractice laws to reduce awards for damages and encourage arbitration. He wants to also encourage Medicare and Medicaid patients to use HMOs, standardized insurance forms, and he wants to encourage preventive care. Thank you.
Thank you. Today, 60 million Americans lack adequate health care insurance, and 1.5 million Americans are HIV positive, and George Bush has done nothing. Health care should be a right, not a privilege. Bill Clinton will guarantee affordable, quality health care for every American by taking on the insurance industry that drug companies and health care bureaucracies to bring costs down. And he will wage a real war on AIDS by expanding research and care, starting a national AIDS education outreach effort, and encouraging tolerance and understanding. Thank you.
More questions from the panel. I think it's Matt Robinson's turn.
To reduce the national debt, how does Senator Gore propose to pay for a $600 billion environmental pledge? That is 15% of our national debt.
$200,000 a year, and what we cut from government spending.
After this particular statement by Jessica, the closing statements, I didn't clarify that, will be by each panel. They will have 2 minutes to give a brief summary of their candidates, why he should be president of the United States. Here are the requirements.
The constitutional requirements for a presidential candidate are minimal. A candidate must be at least 35 years old, a citizen born in the United States, and a resident of the U.S. for at least 14 years. But reality has, in the past, limited presidential candidates to select few. To date, all presidents have been white male and Christian. Only one has been a Protestant. Most have come from the largest states. Almost all have been more than 50 years old.
Thank you, Jessica. Closing comments, beginning with the Perot group. Why should Ross Perot be elected President of the United States?
Oh, man.
What I want to know is, would you trust your country with a person who has dodged the draft and burnt the American flag? Or a person president had to make a movie, it would be called Honey, I Shrunk the Economy. And for a sequel, it would be called Honey, I Blew Up the Deficit. Seriously, people, who would you trust your money with? The men above? Or a man who is a proven businessman who has created jobs and managed money and who would accept no pay for his efforts as President of the United States? Ross Perot has a phrase that he uses in a lot of his campaign stops, like in different places. His name is Ross. Don't call him Mr. Perot and you're the boss. Just because you can make low-paid jobs in a state that's economically the lowest of the low doesn't mean you can be President of the United States. He said he tried marijuana just one time, but we don't know that. He may still be on marijuana. Okay? All it takes is once to be addicted to that stuff. One day he might just be walking around smoking marijuana, and we had nuclear weapons pointed at the Soviet Union. He might just push one of the buttons. You never know. What a person like that would do.
Thank you, Ben. The Republican final analysis or summary here. Why should George Bush be re-elected to his second term as president of the United States?
Golly.
There's no reason at all.
Well, I need to ask all of you all a question.
Why is he
We want a president who on foreign soil marches and protests against his own country in a time of war. That's the question we want to ask. Okay, and we want a person that you can't trust that dropped out of the election. I mean, what if we're in a war and he just drops out and says he doesn't want to do it anymore? Think about it. George Bush has proven himself a good leader. He's led us through a Middle East war out of 400,000 people, 150 casualties. I think that's all good. Listen, in New York right now,
Over half of them are surrendered.
in 1990 when he was put in, it was 10% the prime interest rate was. Right now, it's 6.0. I hope this debate was very informal to you all. As you can see, my candidate has proven himself to all of you. Do not turn against him. He has done great for 4 years, and he'll do great for 4 more. Please vote for the man, no, the president of the 90s, George Herbert Walker Bush. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chip. Very well done. All right, the Democratic response. Why should the governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton, be the next president of the United States?
Well, first of all, I want to start off in response what Ben said about Ross Perot and about Governor Clinton. There's a song that reminds me about Ross Perot. You put your left foot in, you put your right foot out, you do the hokey pokey and you shake it out the box. Do we really want a president that cannot make up his mind whether he wants to run for president or not? I think all Americans realize it's time for a change. For far too long, our people have suffered. The rich have gotten richer, the poor have gotten poorer, and the middle-class Americans have suffered the most. Our government is failing to produce what we need. From the Bush and Quayle administration, the rich have benefited the most. We need to change that. That's why it is imperative that we elect Governor Bill Clinton and Senator Al Gore in 1992. Thank you.
We are going to run out of time here just in 2 or 3 minutes. The purpose of this was, first and foremost, to introduce the candidates and the presidential candidates, I should say, the election, the format, and the responsibilities of the president to the students. Then on the other hand, it was a chance for these people that participated, and you as well as the audience, to gain some skills. Communication skills, obviously these guys had to research material, and as well they had to do a lot of thinking, and I think most of them did. They put in a lot of effort and time, so I commend them for that. Quiet, please. Holy. But if you had to vote today for President of the United States, who would you vote for?
Pat Buchanan.
David Duke.
The important thing, quiet please, this has went well so far, don't blow it now. The important thing is, if you think about it for a moment, why would you vote for that person? And maybe in some small way, quiet please, front row, and maybe in some small way these people helped you make a decision. I'll be quite frank, I'm still wide open. I don't know who I'm going to vote for. One day I'll vote for Perot, one day I'll vote for Bush, and then some of these guys almost have me knocked in to vote for Bill Clinton. So, it's been very interesting, and I want to again thank these people who were involved, and we want to thank you for being here. We have about 3 minutes before the bell rings here, but thank you very much. We enjoyed it.